I'm not entirely comfortable with doing these types of videos. It's just not my cup of tea, usually. It's a little bit low effort for my liking. I like putting a little bit more elbow grease in my videos, but the Lord was pretty clear with me, and He's given me numerous confirmations that I just need to make this thing as simple and as clean as possible. No extra frills are necessary because, honestly, just been listening to the Watchmen community, and although I don't disbelieve what they're receiving, as a matter of fact, I do believe it. I do have faith that the Lord is coming very, very soon, and recent events have made that abundantly clear, especially if you're watching the events that are taking place over there in Russia, Belarus, Poland. It's looking beyond dicey over there. They keep sending decoy drones deep into Poland, which is NATO, one of the strongest countries in NATO. So that's just them. Like, if we're speaking in RTS, real-time strategy games, it's basically like sending in the scouts to dispel the fog of war, to find out where the enemies are, what's their reaction time, and better yet, where they're going to attack. So that's what I would do. And that's pretty much their modus operandi over there since the start of the whole Russo-Ukraine war. But bringing it back to this, bringing it back to the Watchmen, bringing it back to September 23rd and 24th, the Rapture dates and everything like that, I see the community being divided. And it is alarming, but it's not unexpected. We are living out Matthew chapter 13, verses 24 to 30, which is the separation of the wheat and the tares. So with that said, I have to come forth with something that I've already made a video about this, more loquacious, more, eloquent, but I'm just going to be blunt here, and given the revelation that I've received over the course of my life, owed to my own survival, my testimonial on my channel goes into more detail about that. But the whole reason why, well, one of the key reasons why the Lord did what He did was to set up something new. As He spoke through my best friend, the same way that He spoke through Balaam's donkey or through the burning bush, He spoke to my best friend, and He said He was establishing something new with us. And it's going to be a new covenant and contingent. I'm just paraphrasing here, but essentially the part on my end that I needed to hold up over these years, because He gave it to me 15 years ago, and I've been holding this to myself and to my best friend, and a handful of other people know it now, mainly because I know that they are filled with the Holy Spirit, filled with confirmation. So I'm giving this to here right now as a warning, because what the Lord said to me is that in response to everything that happened back then 15 years ago, that as long as I'm alive and do not commit suicide, because he gave it to me in a very dark chapter of my life, one of more than I wish to count, as long as I'm alive and do not commit suicide, the events, the cataclysms of the book of Revelations will not come to pass. I'll say that again. As long as I'm alive and do not commit suicide, the events and the cataclysms of the book of Revelations will not come to pass. Why? Why would He say something like this to me? Well, the answer is actually fairly straightforward, but it's found in these documents, and that's about pretty close to 110,000 words worth of reasons why. Some of which are on this channel if you wish to explore those. Some people have difficulty with them, but that's not going to be my issue for much longer. So, my message, well, not mine, but the Holy Spirit prodded me to do this because I honestly don't want to do this, is that as long as I'm alive, the rapture as we know it isn't going to happen. I have to be gone. And if the Holy Spirit leads me to do it, if there is a calling to do it, I will post a video every single day up until the 25th if I'm still here. Which honestly I significantly doubt, because there's been a lot of resolution, a lot of conclusion in my life as of late, and a lot of fulfillment. And to be honest with you, there's really not been any, other than this, there hasn't been any other guidance of what to do next. So, and one thing I've learned in my walk with the Lord is that the things he doesn't say, often matters as much as the things he does say. So, I just want to leave that with you. This will be difficult for some to hear. But that explains the last 3 years. The last 3 years has been an absolute enigma, for a confusion, a baffling to the Watchman community. And it's only been even more so because if you're watching the events internationally, all the wars that are popping up, Matthew 24 all over the place, the beginning of sorrows. NATO in Ukraine has effectively crossed every single red line that Putin had. The no-go zones, red lines, or nuclear war. They crossed every single one of these red lines as if it was an invitation. As it was Putin daring them instead of warning them. And here we are. We're still here. Because 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 6 and 7, which is the restrainer. And that is the calling that I've lived out, because the Lord said, as long as I'm alive and do not commit suicide, the events, the cataclysms, of the book of Revelations will not come to pass. So I have to be taken out of the way. I have to be taken out of the way. And I'm still here. I find myself at a loss for words right now. So I'm just going to end it. I hope this finds you well. And as Brother Chris likes to say, if I don't see you again here, I'll see you in heaven.